Hey, good day everybody. This is Peter Wolfing with another video regarding network marketing. Beautiful scenery here. More importantly, the point behind my video is not the skyline in the background, but the baseball fields. I may have said many times in my videos that I love baseball, I really do. And it has many parts of baseball that's really related to how you prospect in network marketing. You say, what do you mean, Pete? Well, in prospecting, many times people, they're looking for that grand slam all the time. And if you don't know what a grand slam is, it's when all the bases are full of people and you hit a home run. Well, that grand slam and home run may be that big hitter that you've been trying to land for quite a long time, right? And those don't come along every single day. Many times, and most times, it takes a little cultivation, most times a lot of cultivation, to land a big hitter once in a while. However, they're there, and most people stop before they get to that point. However, you have to keep on plugging along and not quit. You know, they said Babe Ruth struck out thousands of times, and he's one of the most feared hitters, if not the most feared hitter in baseball ever. But he got up and he swung and he swung and he swung, and he did quite well, I should think. And the same thing in your business. You have to keep on swinging to be able to get those people. And what are the swings? What are the strikeouts? The strikeouts are the no's, right? The no's in your business. People that say no, or maybe people that say maybe not right now, but maybe later, right? And sometimes you might be up against a pitcher that'll strike you out 9 times, but you keep on plugging, and that pitcher is who? The big hitter in your business, and you're up there the 10th time and you hit a home run, and that person is in the right time in their life to be able to join your business. So don't stop. Now, another point in network marketing and baseball is that you have to hit a lot of singles, doubles, and triples, and once in a while the home runs come, and occasionally the grand slams come, okay? But you have to keep on swinging, and most of the time it's the singles and doubles that are going to be paying your rent, your mortgage, school, bills, and so on, right? I've known many people in network marketing that I've worked with directly, and I keep on trying to labor this point to them, and they only go after the big hitters. Meanwhile, they can't even pay their car payment because they need to find the people that are going to do the business. They're going to make a few $100s a month, maybe a few $1,000s a month. A few $1,000s a month might be a double. Right? People that earn a few $100s a month might be a single. But sometimes you have someone hits a single and they're fast, they're going to steal second, third, and home. So it's like a home run, right? So you have to be able to get those singles, doubles, and triples to be able to earn money as well too. And it'll be those people that surprise you sometimes that'll get up and they'll draw a walk, right? And they'll start out real slow, but what'll happen is they'll gain momentum, and they'll come around to score as well too, and those people will turn out to be your grand slams too. You don't have to necessarily hit a home run with a grand slam with a home run. You can hit a single, they can turn into a grand slam because they can just push everybody around and they go around, or a walk. Okay, a walk is someone that you didn't really have that much upside potential. You would think pretty much obvious to you, you know, readily apparent. But that person joins the business, and maybe 3 months down the road they catch fire. Whatever happens in their life, it becomes the right time in their life to look, and they just get going. And later on, they score. All right? And what I mean by scoring is someone that gets the vision, and they just go for it. So you never know, and in this business, you have to keep on swinging. You have to be able to get up, look at the pitches coming in, right, and swing. The pitches coming in, who are they? Those are the prospects, right? Those pitches coming in are the prospects. Sometimes you're going to whiff. Sometimes you're going to foul them off. Sometimes you're going to get a hit. Sometimes you get a double, triple, or even a home run. You never know, but you can't get a hit unless you're up there swinging the bat. And that means prospecting. You have to get out there, and you have to have as many pitches coming at you as possible So this way you can get those hits. Some people join network marketing and they expect to hit a grand slam, but they don't talk to anybody, right? Or they talk to 3 people and say, I didn't get that person and nobody's interested. Not at all. Mickey Mantle, the feared hitter of the Yankees, came up from the minors, and he struck out so many times, they're almost going to send him down. And they were in, I believe, Oklahoma, and they were playing a team around that area. He went to the hotel. This is a true story. And his father was waiting for him at the room, and he expected his father to give him a pep talk about why he should stay up with the Yankees. Except his father took his bags to him, and he said, listen, okay, I'm ready to take you home. And he was stunned when he said that, because his father said, I didn't raise a quitter. I raised someone that's going to go for it and not quit. But if you're going to quit, let's go. And that, he has said many times, changed his baseball career, and he went up and, of course, hit triple crowns and did quite well in the major leagues. But he went up and he didn't stop, even though at the beginning he struck out quite a few times. As I said, Babe Ruth struck out thousands of times. And in baseball, if you hit 3 out of 10, there's a good chance you're going to the Hall of Fame, which is over a 300 batting average. That means you're going to get out 7 times out of 10, right? Which means in prospecting, 7 out of 10 people might say no. So you got to count those no's until you get a yes. And when you're getting started, it might be 8 or 9 out of 10 that say no. But when you get started also, the first 9 might say no, and the 10th one says yes. Or the first one might say yes, and the next 9 say no. You never know. And that 11th person may be your grand slam, you never know. Or that 12th, the 13th, and 14th. And in your second 20, maybe you have 1.5 say yes. And your third 20, you have 2 say yes. Because you're getting better at your craft, and you're learning how to hit the pitch. You're learning how to pitch the business to them, so that this way, they see it a little bit better. A doctor doesn't become a doctor just by getting up and swinging, right? A doctor becomes a doctor because they get educated and they go through residency, which means they're practicing their craft. Network marketing is a business. Treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. You treat it like a hobby and you'll get paid the same way. And you give it I'll give it a shot, and it'll give it a shot. It'll give you a shot too. So, but if you treat it like a business, you have to cultivate your craft. You have to cultivate your skills, your presentation skills. You have to learn the business, learn your product, learn your compensation plan. And you got to get up there and get a lot of pitches coming in at you from your prospecting systems, right? Whether it's phone broadcasting, lead scraping, advertising, postcards, or whatever. You use all those different methods to be able to put those pitches towards you, and then just swing and swing and swing, right? So the other last point I want to put up also is as you start to recognize these pitches coming in because of the amount that have come at you, eventually you start to recognize pitches. What do I mean by that? Well, as you get better in baseball, you start to recognize, is it a curveball, is it a fastball, is it a foul, is it not a foul, is it a ball, is it a strike, or is it a big fat pitch right down the middle? What does that mean? Well, in network marketing, you get better at your craft, right? Because you're calling people up, you're talking to people and so on, and recognizing the pitch means that, say I'm doing a phone broadcast, and someone replies, and they leave a message, and from their tone of voice, from the energy of that person, from how they speak to how they leave the message to everything on that message, I can tell with a reasonable amount of certainty if that person's a fat pitch right down the middle that could be a possible grand slam, Or are they worth even swinging? Right? Now, I don't rule out anybody. However, I do decide, because it's my business, who I want to work with, and I do decide how much time I'm going to put into each pitch. Some pitches, you really can spend a lot more time with it because they have a lot more potential to hit that grand slam. And some pitches, you know, is it really worth you putting more than a few minutes of a return phone call? And I got to be honest with you, some pitches are not worth any, right? If I have someone calling up, leaving a message, and they have zero energy, and they just sound like somebody that I don't want to work with, I don't call them back. I'll send them an email, right? And just going to pick up where I left off. But if I send them an email, then we'll see what happens at that point. You know, because I've gotten to a point in my business that I don't have to sign up everybody that fogs a mirror, okay? And it took me a while to realize that, because 80 to 90% of the people in your business will make you less money than the top 10 or 20%. So you have to focus most of your time with the top 10 or 20%, because they'll make you more money than the 80% or 90%, whatever percentage you want to put in there. So after a while, you get to recognize the type of pitches that come in. Strike, a ball, a good strike or a bad strike, or what I mean by that is there's a good strike and a bad strike. A good strike is right down the middle, and a bad strike is one that's tough to hit. So you get to recognize through your training and education and just the time that you take to swing at those pitches to recognize which one you're going to put more power behind your swing and which one you might just flail out a little bit and hopefully you hit it. So when you get to recognize those pitches, say there's one that's right down the middle, hey, you might be able to swing harder at that one to try to hit that home run. And one that's just out of the strike zone, and maybe you swing a little bit on it. You see what I'm saying? So that all comes from skill, repetition, and recognizing those pitches, because you spend enough time seeing those pitches come in, and you can see whether someone has the potential to be that great hit. Now again, I got to say again that I never disqualify anyone. However, I'm going to put more or less time in with different people, because I can pretty much tell which ones the energy suckers and which ones are going to be worth my time, right? So after you decide how much your time is worth, then you put that in the equation and you say, okay, listen, is it worth my time to spend XYZ amount of time with this person? And you're making that judgment call when the lead comes in, and as you start working with them, if they decide to work the business and be part of the business. And it's sometimes you have to kick them out of the nest because they're just really draining your business. So they don't want to do anything for themselves. They ask you every question under God's creation regarding the business, when it's all available on the website and it's all available, you know, right there in front of them. Or they don't want to watch a training video on how to use a piece of software, or they don't even want to go to the web page that has all the conference calls numbers on it. They keep on asking you, what's the conference call number? What's the time? What's the PIN number? Over and over and over again, and they don't even write it down, you know, that type of thing. So you know what I'm talking about. So that's what I mean by sucking your energy and your time. And in baseball terms, those are the type of people that take you away from swinging at the new pitches and actually throw people out when they're trying to steal second base and make you money. And what I mean by throwing people out, well, they take you away from working with other people. They take you away from seeing more pitches to swing at, because you're constantly eating up your time doing these tasks that they could have done themselves. That's what I'm talking about in making a judgment call of what's worth your time. So, you know, again, this is all a judgment call, and obviously this is just a video, so please take it personally if you want, and put it in the proper context if you want, and maybe it'll help your business go to another level, because it's again a big thing in business that if you spend your time with those 10%ers, they're going to make more money than the 90%ers. So, and that's just basic business. It's not even network marketing. It's just that 80-20 rule, 90-10 rule is so true. I mean, it's been true for thousands of years. So that's what you want to do. So hopefully you enjoyed this video regarding baseball and network marketing. This is Peter Wolfing. Thank you very much for watching this video. Go see my YouTube channel, my other videos. Hopefully they'll help you build your network marketing business. See you on another video. Have a great day. Bye for now.